Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a good night. I am Patrick. This is Storytelling Imperfectly, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. I am Patrick, and I hope you like what you see. Going into another missing persons case today, guys. This one, we're moving away from Western North Carolina. We're moving away from missing children, and we're going back into missing hunters for a bit. And this case particularly is extraordinarily strange because hunters, as I've said before in other videos, like about Aaron Hedges or Corey Kelly, if you haven't seen those videos, go check them out because those are equally strange cases. But hunters always baffle me because they're armed. Generally, they're well versed in the outdoors. And for them just to up and disappear without a trace is extremely strange. Although not impossible. However, sit back, relax. It's story time. We're going to try to figure out what happened to Tracy Cray. Tracy Cray and his family moved from San Diego to Montana. They were members of the Mormon Church and avid outdoorsmen. Les Cray, Tracy's father, had taught these kids, his kids, from an early age about the outdoors. And a lot of people in Tracy's family said that they believed that Tracy was part mountain goat. He was excelled at hunting. In fact, it wasn't just that he was an avid hunter, he excelled at it. And his family went on record during this missing case, when he went missing, saying that they couldn't understand what happened because they said he was born to hunt. Now, what happened was that on February the 13th, Tracy Cray, his brother Les Cray III, and his dad Les Cray went out elk hunting. And they went out, they did this in February because they had what's called late tags, and they were looking to fill their tags. Now they went up to a place called Little Trail Creek Trailhead, right outside of Gardiner, Montana. And it had been snowing, obviously. I mean, it's winter in Montana. So when they got there, there was some thick snow on the trail. But they followed the trail for about 3/4 of a mile. And then they sat down once they reached some pine trees and they took a break. They ate a snack, they talked a little bit, then they just kind of sat there waiting to see signs of wildlife, particularly elk, because they were elk hunting. After waiting for a while and not having any luck, Tracy told his dad and his brother, I'm going to go further up the trail and see what I can see. Now, Tracy had a camera on him, he had his weapon, his rifle, and also he was well provisioned. He had food, he had water, he was dressed super warm. He had an orange hunting vest, that was, of course, fleece lined, and he had long underwear on and cotton pants. He had, multiple layers, as you should when you go out in the wintertime hunting or at all. After a few hours of sitting at the pine trees, Les Cray and Les Cray III decided to go back down to their vehicles. They weren't having any luck. And of course, at 26 years old, they were completely unconcerned about Tracy because, well, again, they believed that he was born to hunt, as per stated. After a few hours of waiting by their vehicle and Tracy not showing back up, Les Cray, his father, became very concerned. And who wouldn't? Any father, including myself, if your child doesn't show back up, you're going to get concerned. So they fired a few shots up in the air. Now, this is something that is common practice. If you're lost in the woods and you're a hunter and you have a rifle, a very good way of letting people know where you're at or trying to get your bearings with other people around is to fire your weapon. And generally speaking, if somebody else hears the report of your rifle, they will fire their rifle off in turn, giving you a slight location or a slight bearing on where you are versus where they are. But they didn't get an answer. So when Les Cray, Tracy's father, fired his rifle a few times and didn't get any sign or signal that his son had heard him by firing his rifle back, he grew even more concerned. And as the sun set and night set in, that concern turned into fear. Now, at this point in time, Les Cray reached out to law enforcement and informed them that Tracy had gone missing. And instantly, a search was kicked off. They came up to the mountain the next day. They started looking for Tracy. And remember, he was a member of the Mormon Church, which ultimately is a very tight-knit group of people. And Tracy's family was a very tight-knit group as well. They had a very strong family life, and there wasn't trouble or weirdness going on. And remember, Tracy's 26 years old. He was also married at this point in time. He had 2 children, and his wife Marcia and Tracy were very much in love. And this is right at the day before Valentine's Day. So on Valentine's Day, they began the search for Tracy in earnest. The National Park Service sent 8 park rangers, and the sheriffs sent at least 20 deputies. On top of that, Tracy's church, other members and men of the church came out and immediately started to look. And we're talking about 45 to 50 people. They had numerous airplanes from the Civil Air Patrol circling and looking for him. And they also brought in over 20 dog teams trying to pick up Tracy's trail, his scent. Now, one of the problems that started happening, again, as with a lot of these missing person cases revolving around national parks, and this is a national park this was happening in. This was in the Lewis and Clark National Park in Montana. Bad weather set in. It started snowing. They called off the search. The winds kicked up. And because of the way the wind blows in Montana when it's snowing, any trail or trace or footprints, tracks of Tracy were covered up. However, they still didn't think this was going to be a very long search. I mean, again, he was well provisioned. He had the ability to start fire. And being the outdoorsman that he was, wearing what he was, they just assumed they'd find Tracy rather quickly. They thought that particularly the orange vest that he was wearing, the orange hunting vest, would have been super easy to spot. So when search and rescue got involved with over 80 people and helicopters using FLIR and all kinds of things like that, they were ultimately shocked when no sign of Tracy came up. Over the course of a few weeks, hundreds of people came to look for Tracy. And again, no sign. After 45 days of looking for Tracy, they called off the search. The family was extremely bothered by this. So the wife, Marcia Cray, put a $5,000 reward out for any sign of Tracy. If you could find any sign of him, please let us know. Because also what was happening at this point in time, and the family not knowing where he's at, and a few months into him being missing, is that people started going, well, what happened? Even the family started considering maybe UFOs. I mean, they were grasping at straws trying to figure out what happened to Tracy. So, another thing that was taking place at this point in time, obviously, is months after a person goes missing, the family of those people not only are seeking answers to how they went missing and a little bit of closure, but Marcia, being a wife of a missing man now for months and months with 2 children to care for, needed benefits. And if Tracy's gone, then they need to be able to afford to pay their mortgage and groceries and electric bills and all those things. So she was wanting to at least have a proof of death. And so that $5,000 reward she offered wasn't just to find him, but any proof of him at all. His rifle, belt buckles, anything that Tracy had on him. Because the thing is, even if Tracy slipped and fell and hit his head, was covered by snow, something like that happened, there would still be the rifle. He also was carrying a camera on him. because Tracy liked to take photographs while he was out in nature. So, and also of his kills. So if he shot an elk, he wanted to catch a picture of it. None of this was ever found. And rifles don't just disappear. Cameras don't just disappear. Now, a human body may decay, but their belongings usually are left long behind. And this has been proven over and over again. Again, with the Corey Kelly case, they ended up finding his shotgun and some of his belongings. And in Aaron Hedges' case, I mean, they found his boots, they found his clothing, ultimately they found his bones. They also found his weapon, his bow, and his backpack. And with Robert Springfield, that video that I made, also they found Robert's clothing, and there's always something left behind, even if the person has long ago decayed and rotted away. So when they went out looking, and this brought, that $5,000 reward brought hundreds of people up to Little Trail Creek looking for any sign of Tracy Cray. Finally, though, guys, a year later in 1984, a judge did in fact issue a certificate of death for Tracy Cray. But it didn't stop his family nor members of his church for looking for him. And on the weekends, the men of the church would get together and still go out and look for him. And Les Cray, Tracy's father, never gave up hope that finding his son. In fact, he would even rent a mule so he could put all his supplies on it and go deep into the backcountry looking for his son, and spent weeks trying to find him at a time. Over years, he would do this. And that's amazing. You know, I understand that. Again, as a father myself, not wanting to give up on your son, to look for them desperately for years and years and years, is tragic, and also a very powerful statement about the love of a family for a son or a husband or a brother. And and the two great tragedy, I mean, this happened in 1983, guys, is that Tracy was never found. No proof of Tracy has ever been found. And considering that this Little Trail Creek has so many people that visit it annually, both in winter and summer, the place is known for its excellent hunting and fishing. And so people go there constantly to camp and hike and hunt and fish. And nothing has ever been found of him. Nothing at all. Again, psychics did get involved, and the family, being desperate, reached out to psychics and listened to what they had to say. Ultimately, a lot of these people just wanted money for their services, which kind of lends credence to the fact that all it was a scam. But even the psychics that reached out with information or supposed information about what happened to Tracy, their leads were dead ends. People would go and look where these people said look, and no proof of Tracy ever being there, much less finding anything of Tracy or his belongings. It just never came to fruition. So there you go, guys. Tracy Cray, missing in Montana. And just like Aaron Hedges in the Crazy Mountains, ultimately was declared dead. However, the big difference is that Tracy Cray, not a single shred of evidence has ever been found of him. I mean, at least they had proof of death when it came to Aaron Hedges. So the question is absolutely out there. What happened to Tracy Cray? I'd love to hear what you think happened to Tracy. Please leave me something in the comment section below. And thank you so much for being here with me today. I really appreciate your support. Guys, hit that button if you enjoyed this video. Make it ring, turn it blue, do whatever you have to do. Yeah, I'm rhyming. I shouldn't do that. It's like gangster rap. Nonetheless, guys, if you enjoy this video, I really appreciate if you hit that button. Show me some love. It lets YouTube know that you're enjoying the content, but even more importantly, it lets me know you're enjoying the content. Guys, if you've been here this long and you're not subscribing, hit that red button. Go ahead. It's free. And last but not least, if you are already subscribed or you're a new subscriber, hit the bell, guys. Get those notifications. That way you know when I upload, and you can choose to watch the video or not, but the choice is yours. And that is the most important thing to me. Because why let YouTube decide what you watch and what you don't watch? Take destiny into your own hands, hit the bell, and then you can make the choice whether you want to watch these videos or not. But that's it for Patrick today, guys. Thank you so much again for being here. Thank you to everyone supporting the channel. And I'm out of here. I will see you guys in the next video.